Happy New Year, everybody. I cannot believe that we are already in 2021. Time just flies, as you guys know. It's probably a little bit slower, I think, though, with being home and having so much more to juggle. It throws out the time entirely, to be honest. It's a little bit challenging. I think the kids were saying, they don't even know what month it is half the time. So you guys might be in the same boat. I'm Dawn Clevisall. You are in my Facebook group or you're on my page over in YouTube. Watching this, you probably know who I am already, but if not, I just want to let you know a little bit about me. I have been a bookkeeper for as long as I can remember now. I started this company in 2007 because I really wanted to help those business owners that you keep hearing about fail within the first 5 years. I'm like, okay, well, they're failing because of their finances. They're failing because their money isn't something that they're ready to handle because they are passionate about something, and most times it's not the financial side of your business, and you may feel that way also. But I just wanted to jump in here and talk to you guys today because I have 6 tips for you that I use to have a stress-free tax season. And again, I know that the financial side of things may not be something you love, but it's something that's so important to making you successful, to reaching those levels that you want to reach in your business so you're not stuck anywhere. So I'm really passionate about you not being stuck either. The thing that sticks me up mostly is usually tech. You guys will find that out. And hopefully I'm looking right at you guys. And hopefully everything's right because it's the tech stuff that gets in my way and makes my life harder. But because of that, I'm really passionate about you not getting stuck where you are. So the 6 tips that I have for you today are, first things first, go into your accounting system and reconcile those bank accounts. Each of your bank accounts should be reconciled each month. I know the time can get away from you. It happens to me as well. I look in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been longer than I wanted since I've looked at this and actually wrapped things together and pull it together. So now is the time of year to do that if you have not done so already. What happens when you reconcile your accounts? Inside of your accounting system, and all the accounting systems that allow reconciliations do this. So if you have one that's not letting you reconcile, get one. Because if it's not letting you reconcile the bank accounts, there could be all sorts of errors happening inside your accounting system that you have no idea about. So make sure that whatever system you are using, it does not have to be QuickBooks. Although I am certified with QuickBooks, it does not have to be that one. But make sure whatever you're using lets you reconcile those accounts. Here's what happens when you reconcile. You are matching up the account transactions that are in the register, say it's the bank, in the bank register for that account in your accounting system. Then you're taking your bank statement and you're literally just checking it off in the accounting system, checking it off on the paper, making sure that they match. It's so important because this is where you find mistakes that have been made. Sometimes the bank feeds that we're using pull double information over. In fact, I had to stop doing my books for December because I need to go back through with a fine-tooth comb and look at the transactions because I noticed as I was going through to add them, it looked like I had duplicates. So duplicates are something that happens inside of your accounting system if you're not on top of it and reconciling every month that you might not catch. The other thing is sometimes people are adding cash receipts to their accounting system and it gets added to the bank account register instead of the petty cash or cash on hand register. So there's different things that you'll discover as you're going through those reconciliations that you can fix so that you're not overstating your income. You don't want, if you had a $15,000 payment come in and it got duplicated, you don't want that to pay taxes on all that extra money that it looks like you have as income. And it throws your numbers off completely. So your first step, so to make it smooth for you, reconcile bank and credit card accounts. Second step is to add all of your cash receipts for purchases if you haven't done that already. There's lots of different software that you can use that will help you throughout the year. So if you need tips on that, let me know. But what you want to do, since you're just catching up for last year, make sure that any cash receipts, that's money you paid out of your pocket that were business expenses, want to make sure all of those are recorded to the expense accounts so that you get credit. First off, the business gets credit for the expense, and also the business can pay you back for the money that you spent, because that is money that the business should have spent, not you. Third step is to run a profit and loss statement. It's also called an income statement. So run that inside of your accounting system. What that's going to help you with is going to give you an opportunity to dive a little bit deeper into each of those accounts and make sure that no mistakes were made. When I say dive a little deeper, in your accounting systems, what is really lovely about having the online systems, and you can even do this with desktop, but what it lets you do when you pull the report, if you go to, let's say it's automobile expense, that's one of the ones that's right there at the top. If you go in and double click either on the name or on the dollar amount, it'll let you into another report. And that report expands everything that's in that category. So you can literally look through and make sure that you haven't added something to the wrong category, or that you haven't added something that was personal into that account. It can even show you, say the number looked a little off to you, you can look through and see maybe you forgot to put in a cash receipt. So that's where you're going to check that. And again, these are pretty simple steps. I know, again, that accounting can be hard, but if you're using software, the software will help you with a lot of these steps. So far, reconcile those bank and credit card accounts. Enter all of your cash receipts for purchases, and run a profit and loss statement. Examine each account while you're in there. Number 4 is to fix any mistakes you discovered in step 3. So if you're in there and you said, automobile expense, but it was, what is that company I used to love to order supplies from? Vistaprint. So say you see Vistaprint in there and it's in the automobile expenses. Well, you realize, okay, that was advertising. They sell, websites and mugs and brochures and things like that. So that's obviously not going to be the correct expense for that account. So you could just, from there, again, inside the accounting systems, they make it super simple. Inside of there, you would just double click on that transaction. It's going to bring you to the individual transaction itself and allow you to change the expense account that was incorrectly put in there. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, you need help, let me know. Number 5, you're going to gather your W-9s and put together a list of what you've paid for rent and to each of your vendors that you purchase services from throughout the year. I don't know if you know this. If you're new in business, you may not, but this month is 1099 month. This is like the crazy month to get all of that 1099s out, because people are waiting to do their taxes. The people you've worked with throughout the year, they're waiting to get their taxes done, and they can't do that until they've received the paperwork from you. Now, the deadlines are the end of the month. So you have to do the end of the month to get this filed, to get these mailed out to them. Now, I recommend you get them mailed out as soon as you possibly can. And the reason for that is this. In the past, the IRS used to give us 3 months till we had to do what I would call the electronic filing of the 1099s. So if I mailed all of your 1099s out for you at the end of the month, and then you found out a month later, you got one of your vendors calls and goes, oh, my social security number's wrong, or, oh, you didn't pay, you recorded the wrong amount of payment, or whatever. I haven't actually filed the electronic portion yet. I would just wait until that week that it was due, just to make sure that any mistakes like that could be easily fixed electronically, and then we could just, what we're sending to the IRS was the correct information. But a few years back, they changed the deadline. The deadline to electronically file now is the exact same deadline as the deadline to mail it. So the problem that creates is you really can't make any changes. If you do, it's pretty expensive to do that, because you can't make the changes electronically, of course. You have to do them by hand, and it's a lot more work to pay someone. You end up having to pay someone to have to do that for you. So what I would recommend to you, gather all that information. So your W-9, just to go back in case you're not familiar with it. So the W-9 is that form that you're going to request from any vendor when you start working with them. And when I say vendor, what I'm talking about is people that you purchase services from that would be considered something that you would 1099. So in my case, if we're working together as your accountant, I would get a 1099. Coaches, different businesses where you're hiring someone outside to help you inside of your business to do something, where maybe that position could be an employee position if they were someone that you were hiring and working with that way. So you want to make sure their services are covered. Your rent is one of the ones also. So the W-9 form, what that does is it gives you a way to collect the information you're going to need to do your 1099s. But in addition to that, it gives you the other information that you may not know. Is this a corporation that I'm working with and they don't need a 1099? Is this person exempt? Like, all sorts of information is actually contained in that form that answers so many questions and lets you know whether or not you even need to send them this form. So if you're not doing that already, whenever you're working with someone new, whenever you're hiring someone new, make sure that you're getting a W-9 from them. Like I said, it gives you all the information that you need to know. You're doing your due diligence. You have that in your records. You're good to go. But as far as wrapping up the year, you're going to need to know all that information, but you're also going to need to know, how much did I pay this person? Because if it's under $600, you don't need to send them the form. But if it's over $600, you do, and you also want that information to be accurate. You want the information that you're sending to the IRS to match what the vendor is expecting it to say. And one more additional note on that. If you're paying with a credit card, then you don't need to do 1099 because a credit card company is going to issue a 1099 to them. So if we were working together and you paid me electronically, like I charge my clients on the first of the month, none of the clients that pay me with credit card at the first of the month have to send me this form. This is only for clients who pay by check or have paid me for outside services by check that are over $600. Those are the ones that need to 1099 me in this case. So hopefully that makes, if it doesn't make sense, and you do think you have a 1099 obligation, join the Ready 1099 Ready before January 31st challenge. It's happening next week. It is happening outside of our normal group. So what you'll need to do, I put a link in the Facebook header of the group. You need to register for the challenge in order to be included. That's happening next week from the 12th to the 14th. Help you answer any questions and give you some guidance as to what you need to do in order to be in compliance. In fact, I'll give you the forms that you need to have filled out and all that. So check that out. Number 6, pull together your reports for your CPA. So once you've done the first 5 steps, your books are done. You've got everything in order. You've double-checked everything. Your books are ready to go. You just need to get the proper reports out of there so that the CPA or tax person can do your taxes. So the reports you're going to need are your profit and loss statement and your balance sheet reports. And I want you to keep in mind, you want to include any receipts for purchases that are over $500 because your CPA is going to want to see that. And if they're not asking you for that, you may want to consider using someone else, because the really best tax preparers, CPAs, are going to want to have that information so that they know that they're entering those transactions into the tax form in the correct spot for you. So they should be asking you that. Let's see what else I have for you. Oh, that was it. So those are the 6 tips I use to have a stress-free tax season. Reconcile those bank and credit card accounts. Add your cash receipts for purchases. Run your profit and loss statement. Dive in there a little bit. Don't be afraid to do that. It's really going to make perfect sense to you when you look at everything that's recorded in there. Examine those accounts. Fix any mistakes. Then gather those W-9s. Again, those are the paperwork that tells you more about the businesses you've been working with, and then gather the numbers for what you've paid those people. And then pull together your reports for your CPA. That's really everything that you're going to need to do to have a stress-free tax season, because the next step is just to hand that to them, answer any questions they might have, and they file it for you. If you have any questions about this topic or anything that's related to Profit First, please consider scheduling a discovery call. If you're considering joining me in one of my programs, I do a 15-minute discovery call. It's just a really quick call to see if we're a good fit and if we can work together, or if you're in the right position, the right spot to move on to other training that I have. I do have a couple of paid discovery call options available. They are the VIP Profit Motivator calls, just to see if you are needing a deeper dive, like you're not ready to start with the program, but you have specific questions that are related to profit in your account, profit in your business and you're trying to figure things out and you just can't figure it out on your own, there are a couple of options for that too. And I'll make sure there's a posted in the group for you. But thank you so much for joining me today. I just wanted to jump in real quick, like I said, give you those tips. Make sure that you are on the right track to have a stress-free tax season. So you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back here tomorrow. Talk to you guys then.